Going on, y'all? CG here. It's Falcons Daily. I would like to say on a victory Monday, but it's another misery Monday as the Falcons have once again snatched defeat from the jaws of victory as they went on the road and lost to the hapless Jets by a score of 27-24 on a 56-yard field goal as time expired by Nick Folk, who couldn't even make it to the crossbar, from about 53 yards out earlier in the game. But of course, Falcons are going to Falcon sometimes, and it's unfortunate because that one right there really hurt. But again, before we get into it, if you want to give me a follow on social media, you can find me at Craig G Sports, CRAIG, the letter G in the word sports, and Fan Arch, who is up here in the top left corner right there. They are at FanArchCo, FANARCHCO. Let's get back to the game. And again, how the Falcons lost this one. I mean, it's not the exact same way every single week, but the one thing that is continuous is that it's freaking agonizing. And it's really, really tough. But again, let's look at the numbers real quick. I mean, for those of you who didn't, pay that much attention to it, Falcons had pretty much, offensively for certain, kind of outplayed the Jets there. 25 first downs. They ran 67 plays, 389 yards. They averaged 5.8 yards a play. Bijan Robinson had an awesome game today, and it got wasted. But the passing game, Cousins was decent, 21. He was 21 to 33. He threw for 234 yards and a touchdown. Again, the rushing attack, 167 yards on the ground. Can't be mad at it. One penalty. That's it. We were 3 for 3 in the red zone, and we still freaking lost. It's just mind-boggling how we find ways to lose these games seems like every single week. We are so inconsistent. It's not funny. And, don't know where we go from here, but I mean, one place we're probably not going to go is the playoffs, unfortunately. I mean, we're not eliminated. We are still mathematically alive for a wild card and for the NFC South, but I mean, we are barely hanging on by a thread. I mean, talking about playoffs right now is really not, the top of the charts for me at this moment, only because of the fact that, again, it's highly unlikely, again, because we needed to have this game to keep pace, and we lost it, especially with the Rams losing to the Panthers in Charlotte, and of course the Buccaneers defeated the Cardinals. So no favors have been done to us whatsoever when it comes to the NFC South. But the Saints are eliminated, so that makes us feel good. But at the same time, we're sitting now at 4-8. And honestly, we're only maybe a week or two away from being eliminated from playoff contention. I know the Panthers are on a bye next week. If the Bucks, we're already at 8 losses. Both Tampa and Carolina are at 7 wins. And especially if Carolina gets to 8 wins, once they get to 8, we're done because we have already lost to them twice. You know what I mean? Unless they, if we get to 9 losses, they get to 8 wins, we're done for. Again, because in a flat-footed tie with Carolina, we'd lose based on the head-to-head. So any tie with them would do us absolutely no favors. We have to be a game better than them. Now, being tied with Tampa Bay at the end of the day may work if we defeat them and can beat the Seahawks and the Cardinals and the Rams. You know what I mean? That's really what it's going to come down to. We have to finish, if that's the case, could we finish 8-9 and win the NFC South? I mean, sure, but again, that's not even first and foremost on our mind right now. So back to the ball game. I mean, again, like we did a lot of the things we thought we needed to do, which was keep Breece Hall from really exploding in this game, and we did that. But because he only had 68 yards rushing, but it was some of the unknown people contributing, just stupid stuff happening again, and that we'll get into a lot of that. But again, the Falcons have once again found another way to lose. I know some of you may want to pile on the offensive coordinator because that's what the popular thing has been, but this has nothing to do with him. I mean, I can, we can go back and point out every single time a player made a mistake that led to something that the Jets capitalized on, or something that we had to end up punting or whatever it may be. But again, this one hurts bad because this was a the Jets team who is down to Tyrod Taylor. Uh, Again, they John Mechie was their number one guy. Their tight end led the team in receptions going into this game. They did have a pretty decent defensive line, even with them trading away their best guy on defense, Quinnen Williams. And we still found a way to go up there and lose. And, who knows what's going to happen when it comes to changes being made, all these other things. Again, we'll get into that, but it's painful. And I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm miserable over it. It's every week we find ways to lose to teams we shouldn't be losing to. The Dolphins, the Jets, the Panthers twice. I mean, we had the Colts beat. You know what I'm saying? We were right there with the Patriots until we missed a damn extra point. It's maddening. You know what I'm saying? To see us lose in the way we do, and it's like I said, it's not like we're just inept on offense and we can't move the football and all these other things. We're moving the football. We're scoring in the red zone. We're getting sacks, and we're still not making the plays when we need to make them in the crunch time moments. I mean, once again, we asked the defense to try to get a stop to get the offense the ball back to pretty much end the game, and what they do, they gave up the game time touchdown with Tyrod Taylor running into the end zone. It just, again, a painful way for the Falcons to lose. Again, it is the NFL. Everybody gets paid, all this other stuff. But again, it's just what can you do? It's just it sucks. All right, let's look at the numbers real quick between Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall. And again, we told you Bijan had a pretty awesome game, 193 total yards on the ground, one touchdown, had over 6 yards a carry. I mean, the Jets really didn't stop him much at all. Bijan was, he was fantastic today. I mean, yesterday. He was fantastic. He was, it was a really, really stellar performance for Robinson, and unfortunately, it got wasted because of just, again, situational football things and just boneheaded mistakes. Breece Hall, again, didn't do much at all. I mean, 76 total yards. He had the 2-yard touchdown after the mistake by Jamal Agnew by trying to field a punt and ill-advised, boneheaded play by Jamal Agnew. I'm pretty sure his middle name begins with F today, and just ugh. But yes, way too many mistakes for the Falcons today, and that's why they lost to the New York Jets again. Outplayed them for a good portion of the game. Aaron Glenn didn't do anything spectacular or phenomenal. They just took advantage and took what they were given, and they were just a little bit more consistent today. And that's it. They didn't make as many mistakes. They couldn't move the football that well, but they didn't make anywhere near the amount of mistakes, and that's why they won the game. But again, we're gonna talk about it real quick. And I said, like, the NFC South really is not even. Playoffs are not really in the question for us right now. But for those of you who do care, here's the NFC South standings right now. Tampa Bay and Carolina both won. Of course, they did the Falcons absolutely no favors. We lost. So as you can see, we're 3 games behind Tampa Bay for first, 2.5 games behind Carolina for second place. Again, Carolina's on the bye coming up. I don't know who Tampa Bay plays off the top of my head at the moment. But again, they didn't do us any favors by winning the ball game today. So we do see Tampa Bay on the Thursday night coming up. So we do have that game in our back pocket. But again, we got the Seahawks coming in. And right now, we don't look like we can beat much of anybody right now. If we can't beat the Jets, that's like that is and I mean that with all respect. I mean, the Jets do have professional players, and they went out there and won the game, and congratulations to them. But I mean, the Falcons across the board, talent wise, are more talented on offense and defense, and this is a game that they really should have won. But again, the Saints are eliminated, as you can see here, with the 2-10. They are out with the E next to their name. And again, there's no real scenario right now for the Falcons to be eliminated. But again, remember the Panthers beat the Falcons twice, so any tie in the standings with the Panthers automatically goes to the Panthers and would eliminate us. So we need to finish at least one game better than them if we're going to even have a discussion of playoffs or division title or whatever. But here's the upcoming games we do have. Again, remember, we have the Seahawks at home coming up this Sunday. Then we play Tampa Bay on the road on Thursday Night Football. The Buccaneers actually will play the Saints coming up this Sunday, and the Saints are eliminated, so you can expect them to probably pull out all kinds of shenanigans and pull out all the stops because, again, they're eliminated. There's no tomorrow for them, so they're going to just go all the way out. And again, Baker Mayfield's back, so that's going to be an interesting game for the Buccaneers, and the game is in Tampa Bay. So. Next for the Falcons, after that, again, we got the Cardinals on the road in Arizona. That's a 4 o'clock kickoff, of course. And then back home for the Rams on Monday Night Football. By then, the nail could already be in the coffin in terms of our playoff hopes, especially if we keep getting the wrong kind of results. So, it's painful to talk about that. And the last thing I want to be talking about in December is NFL draft, but it seems like that's what's going to be happening here pretty soon if the Falcons don't find a way to win the next 5 ball games, and if they don't get the right amount of results, namely probably about 3 losses or so by Tampa Bay and 3 or 4 losses by Carolina. That's what they really need, and then they're going to have to win out. We're back in that situation again. Win out, lose out, blah, 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 blah. All right, in terms of looking at analyzing the entire Jets game, I mean, we can go back and talk about this play and that play and all these other things. And some of the things I look at, before we start talking about, the coaches and who's going to get fired and all these other things. Number one thing, when I saw the inactives and I saw that Kadero Hodge was inactive, I was kind of scratching my head at that. Like, Kadero Hodge is one of our better special teams players, and for him to be inactive, to me was just alarming. So for me, I don't know if he was sick or there's an injury, like a late injury or something like that. But I just I scratched my head at that one. Devin Tompkins started off nice and then he kind of disappeared. So I would have rather seen Kadero Hodge playing today because he can contribute on offense and special teams. Tompkins did have a nice little run or so in the beginning of the game, but I think that was one of the biggest mistakes right there was not suiting up Kadero Hodge, having him as a healthy scratch. Of course, you got to look at the fumble by Jamal Agnew, muffing the punt return in the first quarter or whatever, and pretty much gifting the Jets a touchdown. After that, with Brees Hall scoring one play later from 2 yards out. That one, I was watching that and I'm like, if that's the touchdown that beats us, then shame on us. But yeah, again, Jamal F. Agnew, I'm sure is what everybody's referring to him as, especially after that. I mean, tries to, he had no business trying to field that punt whatsoever. He's inside the 5-yard line, just, whatever the code word is to get away from the ball. That's exactly what should have happened. He should have backed off, and that should have been that. If we give up points on a pick six or whatever after that, then we talk about that. But, you pretty much just gave it to him right there at the 2-yard line or whatever. So, I mean, that was just inexcusable. And so boom. Just so frustrated. All right, so we keep going. More mistakes by the Falcons players. Mike Hughes on that touchdown, the 51-yard touchdown catch for the Jets that I put them right back in the game like 2 plays later after we scored a touchdown. I mean, yeah. So on that play, Mike Hughes ended up like tripping and falling over his feet. and that led directly to the touchdown by Mitchell, and that's what helped keep the Jets into the ball game. I mean, more player mistakes as well. I mean, after that, you look at the kick return that Williams got in the fourth quarter. That one right there put the Jets in position to kick the game tying field goal and tied themselves up at 17 in the fourth after we took the lead to end the third quarter. Then later on in the fourth quarter, Bradley Pinion punts the ball 40 yards. He just shanks the punt. The Jets don't have very far to go to get themselves in scoring range. They only had to go about 29 yards or so, 30 yards maybe ish, to put themselves in a good spot to kick the field goal. And then, when we did get the ball with a chance to try to take the lead and run the clock out, what happens? David Sills drops that pass with just under a minute to go. I mean, and then of course the defense can't stop can't stop the Jets to force a longer field goal or make them throw a Hail Mary to keep them out of overtime. So I look at all these things, and of course, at the end of the day, the head coaches and the other coordinators are probably going to take the blame on some of this stuff. But when they ask Raheem Morris about some of this stuff, it'll be interesting to see what he said. But you obviously see the pattern is that special teams once again did poor in this game. I mean, remember even last week against the Saints, we allowed that big kick return after scoring points that put them in position to draw closer in a game and get points that won't say they didn't deserve, but the special teams unit this year has, I don't know if it's the coaching or just the players or whatever it is, it's a combination of, but I would not be surprised if there's no change, if I would not be surprised if there is a change at that position. Also, wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a change right now there. I mean, I'm not calling for anyone's job, but what I am saying is that, what are you going to do to try to fix some of these issues here I don't understand what the deal is with the special teams unit. It's been week after week after week, something wild has happened, or it's either been a long kick return, a long punt return, a fumble, or not fielding the punt, or fielding the punt when you shouldn't, or letting the kick land when when you should pick it up. Something every single week. It's been a detriment, and again, I don't know if I'm not saying Marquise Williams should be fired, but I would not be surprised if he is on the hot seat or about to be let go. Again, and this quote from Raheem Morris kind of speaks to that. He said after the game, he pretty much, 35, 40 minutes after, he said, you got to play in all three phases of the game, and we didn't show up on special teams. Pretty simple. That's what he told Dave Archer on the Atlanta Falcons radio network post game. And then he kind of reiterated it during he kind of reiterated it during his press conference after the game, and he's right. Again, special teams, some of the mistakes pretty much put us in poor positions time after time after time after time after time. So what's going to happen? Who knows? Will we roll with the same unit going into this week with some changes to kick units or coverage or whatever? We'll have to see what they say after watching the film. But for Raheem to be able to make that assessment pretty quickly after the game tells me that Marquise Williams is in pretty hot water. But I guess we'll have to see if that's the case. Does he survive the week? Does he not? But again, the Falcons now at 4-8. We are pretty much, again, the season's not over, but, NFC South playoffs, it's really just an afterthought right now. Let's just see what happens with the Seahawks game this week. They're not going to feel sorry for us. They're coming off of shutting out the Vikings. And, this one feels like another loss coming up. But I hope I'm totally wrong. It is the NFL, and we got to suit up and go out there and play. All right. Tuesday, we'll be back with more, and we'll see what is the word from Flowery Branch on this, that, and the third. But again, we'll see you then. Sayonara and buenos noches.